Hello everyone and welcome to Kwerious V2 Get to Know webinar. So I'm Rijul Agarwal and I'll be walking you through Kwerious today. I'm the CEO of Kwerious and I might be joined by a couple of my partners as we go on. So I'll wait for a couple of seconds to double check if all the audio and video is fine so we can continue from there on. Just waiting a couple of minutes to see if someone wants to join. We will start shortly. So meanwhile, while we wait for people to join, if you are not already inside Kwerious, you can use this link and the join key to join us on Kwerious. So the link is kwerious.com, use our join, and you'll be asked for a join key. The join key is case sensitive, so you can put in there and you can join us. Alright, so let's begin here. So to today's agenda will be I'll talk a little bit about the motivation behind Kwerious, why we came up with the idea of Kwerious, and what's the need for Kwerious in today's classrooms. And then we'll see a little bit of motivation behind Kwerious and talk through a little bit of scenarios and what features Kwerious offers. Of course, we'll jump into Kwerious itself, the tool I'll be using throughout the presentation. So, if you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask it through Kwerious, and I'll do my best to answer them. Okay, so before I jump into the nitty-gritty, let me tell you a brief story. So I'll begin with the story that I was in the first year of my university, and I was going to my physics classroom, and of course the physics classroom was huge. There were like 150 to 200 students inside the classroom. So you can imagine there was no way I was going to raise my hand to ask anything inside the classroom. So when I had a doubt to ask a professor, I just deferred it and thought, okay, I'll go to a professor and ask it after the classroom is over. Naturally, I forgot about it later on and eventually just gave up. And that's pretty much a story with a lot of students out there. So in classrooms nowadays, the sizes are growing bigger, and because of that, students are finding it more and more difficult to raise their hands to ask anything. And there can be numerous reasons for students not being comfortable in asking questions by raising hands. So there are lots of thoughts going inside the head, which can include, is my question stupid? A lot of students do not want to ask stupid questions. Of course, the whole class is watching, so we all already start to get nervous, and we simply choose to not ask sometimes. And we don't want to make a fool of ourselves. A lot of these questions, a lot of these thoughts go through our heads and hamper us from raising our hands to ask anything. So then we thought, okay, this seems like a very common problem, and we thought about doing a survey of students. So we got the opportunity to survey about 100 plus students in last year, and astonishingly we found that 71% approximately of students are not comfortable in raising their hands to ask anything inside the classroom, and that is the major conventional way being used inside every classroom. So we thought, okay, that is a big problem if students are not comfortable. So we thought, okay, how can we improve your how can we help students? So we thought, okay, let's propose a solution. What about if you could ask questions anonymously? And now, astonishingly, 89% of those are completely fine with raising their hand or asking inside the classroom if they had the ability to ask questions anonymously. And then we thought, okay, let's take it a step further. How about if you could ask questions anonymously as well as in real time? That means while the lecture is going on, you could ask questions to professor anonymously, and the professor could choose to answer them during the lecture. And now 96% of those are totally willing and totally on top of them to be able to ask the questions inside the classroom. And that is the main motivation behind Kwerious. And hence we came up with the solution that Kwerious is an online platform which allows you students to ask questions anonymously as well as in real time. Students can also vote on the questions so that the most important questions rise to the top and get answered by professors first. Considering all that, Kwerious also chose to become a complete solution where, in spite of all these features, Kwerious wants to become a one platform where professors can ask questions to students and students can ask questions to professors. Now, like we promised, let's first talk about the desktop application. Desktop application is kind of a unique solution in the market where you don't have to switch between different screens if you're using just one screen to present your lecture. And without further ado, so let's jump right into Kwerious and see how it works. So once you log into Kwerious, what you'll see here is just a basic cluster of all the classrooms. But what's unique is you can click on these three dots and then there's an option called open an app. So once you click that, it will prompt you to open Kwerious desktop if you're downloaded it. And once it's done, so all of Kwerious comes inside your app. So as you might have noticed, the user experience is the same whether you're using the app or whether you're using the browser. So you don't have to fiddle around how to use the app. It's same experience. So let's choose today's webinar, and we have lectures for today evening. So let's choose that, and now we have this lecture come up. So one new thing that you'll notice inside the app is not available inside the browser is this pin. So with pin, what you'll see here is the entire app comes down to the bottom right. It becomes an icon essentially, and you can choose to use it whenever you want. So click on it to expand it and click outside to close it down and carry on. So what's unique is regardless of which app you open, so let's go back to our presentation here. Regardless of whatever you want to do or whatever you're doing, Kwerious is right there on your screen on top of every other app. So at this point you can start asking questions if you have any, and all those questions will come up as notifications, and we will be able to see how new queries that come in, they appear here and you can address them. So moving on to natural business here. So in the presentation itself, so we also have a lot of features and Kwerious that allow things to be easier. So easier for both presenters and audience. So one of the things that we do is make use of artificial intelligence. So what AI does is it reads the query that a student asks it, and it highlights the important parts of the query. What helps is that when you are reading the query, you don't have to read the entire sentence. You can just read the highlighted portions, and you will get the meaning of the query much faster. This is a way for you to read the queries much faster. And since Kwerious is designed for education first, it's also able to integrate inside your any learning management systems that you use. So maybe Blackboard, Moodle, Canvas, or any other popular LMS that supports LTI integration. So moving on. So some of the highlights of what Kwerious features are include you have the ability to define questions very quickly, as well as you can ask instant questions, so that inside the lecture, if you just came up with the question right on the spot, you don't have to first of all go into a tool, design the question, and think about what to ask and so on. You can just straight away do an instant question and verbally explain the question to students. Students can answer, and the answers are recorded just like any other question. What you can do, of course, is later on you can go inside the instant question and say, okay, the question actually was supposed to be this, so and so, and students' answers will still be recorded. One of the features that Kwerious offers is GPS attendance. That means Kwerious uses the GPS location of both students and professors to check if students are actually present inside your classroom. Now, we know that this feature was designed before this coronavirus pandemic, and we aim in the next couple of weeks a new feature is coming where attendance will be taken remotely as well. So instead of checking their GPS location, you can pretty much just check if they are online and inside your classroom. So another thing that's possible is, of course, visualize metrics and statistics. So these metrics and statistics help you to monitor the performance of your students, as well as how individual students are doing, and as a group the entire classroom, as well as you can monitor how your lecture is delivered, and you can make modifications just to make it more engaging. Some more features include license management. So if you're an administrator at any university or college, you can manage licenses. That is, you can manage which professors get licenses to use Kwerious, which don't, and so on. There's also participation grading. That means your students would so based on what your students ask inside your classroom, so this To make it clear, this participation grading is not grading based on what you ask the students. Participation here is referring to students trying to ask you questions. What Kwerious does is basically grade all the queries that students ask, and the queries that students ask are queries that students ask. They are evaluated by AI to see how good their questions are, and AI determines a score which we call a quality score, depending on how good the AI thinks that the quality of the query that is being asked is. We of course combine about 3 metrics, which also includes how often does the student ask, and how much does the student ask. We include these 3 metrics to come up with a grade for the participation of students inside the classroom. Of course, you can go ahead and you have full control over if you want to modify a particular grade and how much do you want to modify and so on. So what we do is make things easier so that you don't have to calculate the participation grading from scratch. And then we have of course multiple screens, and what this feature is meant for is some professors like to use multiple displays instead of just one display. That means they are extending their screens and using separate projectors or separate screens for handling their what they see and what students see. So what Kwerious allows is, based on how many screens you have, you can keep popping up multiple screens, and you can put them on display on your projector screens or the screens which are visible to students. What this allows is basically for students to see the screen all the time, and you don't have to worry because the screen does not ever contain sensitive information. So moving on, so before I talk about more features here, so one thing I want to reiterate is whenever a query comes, so you would see here a little bubble which says how many queries have come in, and you can click on this icon, go inside queries, and you can see the queries listed here. So when the queries are listed here, you can address them verbally, and of course you can choose to dismiss them from all the screens when you are done. So going back here, so one of the features that we have introduced in V2 is competitive mode for questions. So what competitive mode is, if you're familiar with platforms like Kahoot or any presentation engagement platforms, what everyone loves nowadays is being able to create a competition inside the classroom, so that the when you ask a question, the faster a question is answered by a student and the accurate it is, the more points they get. And of course, in Kwerious V2, we also introduced joining without registration. So most of you would already know that when you join inside Kwerious today, you might not have to register for Kwerious. We already take care of that, and uh, you can just join Kwerious and start using it. So if you do not care about the validation of the audience, then you can use that feature. But if you care about the validation of the audience, then we recommend that you go with the traditional way where they have to sign up. Of course, if you integrate Kwerious inside Blackboard, Moodle, Canvas, and so on, any LMS, then you don't even have to worry about that, because all the registration is validated and happens on the background. So all students, you can be rest assured that all students joining your classroom, they are legitimately enrolled in your course. So let's jump into a couple of playing around with Kwerious. So first of all, I'll ask without the competitive mode and see how the questions can be answered. So here, what we can do here is, let's start off with the question here. So of course I'll extend time here, but so the question is there, and you can choose from any of the 4 options, and they can be compared later on. If you think your audience has had sufficient time to address the questions, you can simply click on stop. But here we will answer the question ourselves as well as from others. So feel free to click on the option that you think is right, and then we can visualize the answers. So here, as you can see, the question itself has disappeared from all the screens, but you can now visualize the answer, and here you can see that the question, the correct answer is number 3, and there was option number 2, which was answered by 1 student. So now you can finish this, but and the first thing you'll see here is the question is marked by a tick icon. That means that this is the question that you have already asked your classroom. So the questions with 3 dots, they represent that a question is still to be asked, and so on. So let's ask another one outside of competitive mode, just to give you guys a hang of it. And let's see. So I can choose to answer an option here, and I have no idea whether I'm right or wrong, but let's see if the answer goes through. So now all the responses are recorded, and you can click on this to see that, okay, the correct answer is number 3 and I answered number 4. So it's coming up in red, and there's only one person who's answering. So after all this, so let's see how the competitive mode works. So once you switch to competitive mode, you will get constant feedback that you have enabled competitive mode with the confetti falling down and so, whatever you want to consider this. But with this, all the questions that you ask from now on will be inside the competitive mode, and the points will be accumulated for all the questions for students. So let's begin with one of them, and this is the question that is being asked. So I'll increase the timeout just to make sure that now people on YouTube can also answer if in case there's a lag. It's conductive. So let's see. I did try to answer the correct one, but let's see. So we click on this. Oh, unfortunately, my answer was wrong. The correct answer is number 4. So you would see here that I did not get any points. So continuing on. So let's see if I can answer this one correct. I have no idea about the answer, but you can continuously change your answers, and the latest time when you answered will be recorded. So I changed number 4, and oh boy, I did answer number 3, but I changed my mind to number 4. So I got it wrong, and I scored 0 points again. So the functionality of the take called the three dots, that's the same whether you are using competitive mode or outside the competitive mode. So let's ask the next question. I should be able to answer, I guess. Let's see. I'm just saying these questions are totally not expertise, but yay, got it right. So the points this round, I got 130 points, and these 130 points were awarded to me based on how quickly I answered, as well as, of course, my answer was right, so I got the points. And this round, so now you will start to see the difference between overall score as well as this round score. So I click finish, and let's move on to the next question here. So here okay, I've recorded my answer, so let's see if I got it right. 130, yep, I got it right. So this round the points awarded to me were 70, and the total points I got were 200. So now you can see last round I was at 130, but now this round 70 were added, so you can see 200. Just a note here, the overall score will be the top 3 who have the most accumulated score, and this round will of course show all the participants here, and whoever answered the fastest this round, you'll be able to see that as well. So let's do one more question here. So 5.1. I don't think that's right, but let's see if the answer is correct. Okay. So let's see. Oh, the correct answer is true. And here you'll see overall score set at 200, and this round I did not get anything back, anything added. So this was the competitive mode, and yeah, feel free to ask me any queries that you have while the session is going on, and I'll do my best to answer them. So let's talk about some user feedback. So one of the Professor Andrea Phillips, she is at York University Nursing Department, and she was able to use Kwerious inside one of her information sessions. And in her own words, she was able to completely transform how the session used to work and look like, because instead of students asking questions after the lecture and coming up to the professor lining up just to ask something, they could actually ask during the lecture, and students and she could address them while the lecture was going on. So that's it for today's webinar, and thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any questions, do email us at support@kwerious.com, and we'll be happy to help. One thing to note here is we do have an offer to provide a free pilot for a limited time. So you can actually request pilot. Just email us, and we'll carry on from there, and we'll get back to you about the details about how to get on and so on. And we are always available for any training you need, or if you need help with any session specific details, because we provide support as well through email. So thank you very much, and let's see and wait for any questions that might come up. Okay, if no questions are there, thank you so much for joining,